Occult Symbolism, Media Collusion, a crisis actor from 9/11, and a book published the day before the murder. The assassination of Charlie Kirk wasn't a random act of violence. It was a strategic geopolitical hit, disguised as domestic terrorism, utilizing psychological operations to achieve its goals, and hide in plain sight. This is the shocking truth they don't want you to see. For years, the mainstream media has wielded terms like fascist and extremist against Trump and his base. Here's a compilation.
Let me ask you tonight, do you think Donald Trump is a fascist?
Yes, I do.
This is what kicking the shit out of fascism looks like.
Try to prevent the spread of the lawlessness and the fascist chaos that's been unleashed against us.
So when we say Donald Trump is a fascist,
we are now living in a fascist dictatorship.
We are worried about potential rise of fascism in this country.
Not only to roll over to Donald Trump's will, but to roll over our democracy and allow him to take over this country as a fascist dictator.
When fascism isn't just coming, it's already here.
The former chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, Mark Milley, said, "No one has ever been more dangerous to this country than Donald Trump, and he is a fascist to his core."
This isn't just coincidence. It's a deliberate narrative designed to destroy anyone who doesn't support the corporate media-funded candidate. And in doing so, they've created an environment where voices questioning the status quo are not just marginalized, they're targeted. So was the leftist mob behind the assassination. The left ecosystem's response after the event might convince you. But if you have been watching this channel, you know, in order to get to the truth, you have to learn how to read between the lines. Let's look at details that point to a different reality, which is getting buried in this left versus right war. First, there's the Jezebel post asking for witches to cast harmful spells on Charlie. They removed the article saying that was satire. You can read on Internet Archives how psychopathic and full of hatred it was. The message was clear from the left ecosystem. They want blood. Kash Patel, dropping the 33 symbolism. Coincidence? You be the judge.
Justice at this sort of speed. In 33 hours, we have made historic progress for Charlie.
Then there's the 3 caps next to Charlie, each with the word 47. What does that add up to? New York Times and NBC had posted of Charlie Kirk being shot 19 hours prior to the event. Why is that? This is just like BBC's 9/11 Tower 7 report. A creepy song, Charlie Kirk, Dead at 31, was uploaded on SoundCloud months prior to the incident. Coincidence? Let's look at who Tyler Robinson really is. An autistic young man from a deeply conservative MAGA family. His grandmother publicly stated, "They have no Democrats in the family." So why was he immediately painted as a leftist trans activist? Because the narrative needed a convenient villain. Watch the security footage. Kirk's own security team is seen giving strange hand signals, moments before the shot. One guard is prepping a phone camera, instead of securing the perimeter, suggesting they were part of the operation. Then there's the crisis actor. George Zinn, an elderly Jewish man in his mid-70s, who was arrested at the scene of the shooting, but quickly released without charges. He's not the shooter, but people have flagged him as a suspicious crisis actor or patsy due to his improbable history of popping up at major events. Zinn was filmed as a 9/11 witness, dancing or filming the towers in an old clip. And he was present near the Boston Marathon bombing, with a joke bomb threat afterward. AI calculated the odds of one person, linking to 9/11, Boston, and Kirk's shooting as 1 in 2 billion. Echoing patterns like the dancing Israelis. Ain't no way this is a coincidence. The book called The Shooting of Charlie Kirk, by Anastasia J. Casey, listed on Amazon, with a publication date of September 9th, 2025, day before the shooting. Cover art showed Kirk in Utah, complete with description of the neck shot and other event specifics. There are users who screenshot rushed it, But Amazon pulled the listing hours later. Now searches return a 404, though Google cache ads for the book lingered. Funny how the author Anastasia J. Casey doesn't exist. No LinkedIn, socials, Google hits, or publishing history. Now let's talk about something that the media immediately labeled as anti-Semitism. You know when they start claiming that something is fishy. Let's break this down. Number 1, turning on the hand that feeds. Kirk had turned on Israel, exposing war crimes during the conflict with Iran. Kirk, a powerful voice with a large young audience, was breaking ranks and exposing this as an existential threat to their influence operation.
Was there a stand down order? 6 hours? I don't believe it. Israel's the size of New Jersey. When I took a helicopter ride from Jerusalem to the Gaza border, it's 45 minutes. Wow. 6 hours. They're live streaming the killing of Jews. Did somebody in the government say stand down? That is a legitimate, non-conspiracy question.
Kirk had a complicated relationship with Israel. Once a staunch loyalist, he started to voice mild criticisms of Israeli policies, and feared for his safety, stating outright that Israel would kill him. How did someone who once defended Israel become a target? His growing opposition to the Israel lobby made him a liability to powerful interests. This wasn't a dissenter they could simply ignore. He was speaking out at events, allowing anti-Zionist voices to be heard, and ultimately drawing the ire of those in power. A Trump insider and longtime friend of Charlie Kirk told the Gray Zone how Charlie's turning point on Israeli influence provoked a private backlash from Netanyahu's allies. That left him angry and afraid. Harrison Smith suggested something similar in August. Charlie Kirk was murdered for speaking truth and defending freedom, Netanyahu said in a statement. What truth are we talking about, Benjamin? I wonder if Netanyahu is just being honest in plain sight here. Number 2. A warning to MAGA movement conservatives. The killing is a demonstration kill. The message is clear. We made an example of a prominent conservative commentator. Fall in line. Stop talking about Israel's actions, or you will be next. This is designed to fuel paranoia and a sense of siege within the anti-Israel or anti-globalist movement. Number 3. Blaming the Muslim Brotherhood. Netanyahu implied the Muslim Brotherhood was behind the assassination.
This is a worldwide problem. The people on the extremes, the Islamists, the radical Islamists, and their union with the ultra progressives, they often speak about human rights. They speak about free speech, but they use violence to try to take down their enemies. Whether it's President Trump, who's been almost assassinated twice, or they try to kill me here too. But they got Charlie Kirk, and it's just heartbreaking.
This is classic misdirection at play, using pre-existing geopolitical tensions, Israel versus Qatar, as a cover story. Let's dive into the execution. Hallmarks of a black operation. The mechanics of the hit are designed to scream professional job with a side of staged evidence. The sniper shot. A precise shot to the neck artery is clinical, professional, and difficult. This isn't a crime of passion. It's a surgical removal. The shooter's behavior. The actions of the 22-year-old straight-A student on scholarship were questionable at best. From dropping the rifle in the nearby woods to accepting charges without resistance. How does a hitman walk away from a calculated assassination and just abandons the murder weapon? Sounds more like a setup. An operation designed to point the finger elsewhere, which further suggests he is either a programmed asset or knows that his compliance is part of a deal for his safety or his family's. The die fascist bullet. This is pure narrative framing. It's too on the nose, too perfect for blaming Antifa or leftist activists. Within the conspiracy, it's a false flag designed to ignite civil unrest and point fingers away from the true perpetrators, toward a domestic political enemy. Then there's this bill passed right under our noses, while you are distracted. This was passed on September 11th, 2025, that is supposed to prevent political boycott of a nation friendly to the U.S. This is to protect Israel, which is a supposed ally to the United States. So the rule passed with a vote of 231 to 196. Now it has to go to another group, the Senate, and then the President to see if it becomes a real law. Charlie Kirk's turn against Israel put him on a collision course, with powerful interests. He dared to raise questions about U.S. allegiance to Israel, exposing a web of influence that others simply dared not touch. That threat to their narrative made him a prime target. The truth is ugly and raw. The political assassination of Charlie Kirk wasn't just another act of violence. It was a meticulously orchestrated event that served multiple purposes, and was executed by a sophisticated intelligence apparatus, likely Mossad, with inside help from U.S. agencies, for the geopolitical crime of exposing Israeli war crimes, and threatening the pro-Israel consensus in U.S. conservative politics. The operation was designed to 1. Eliminate a threat, silence a powerful dissenting voice. 2. Send a message, terrorize other commentators and politicians into submission. 3. Control the narrative, use a complicit media to plant stories beforehand and control the aftermath. 4. Misdirect blame, frame the political left and Muslim extremists for the act, further dividing the American populace, and providing cover for the true perpetrators. 5. Flaunt power. The pre-event clues, book, song, obituaries are a signature, a way for the perpetrators to show their total control over reality, the media, and the timeline of events, demonstrating their impunity. In essence, Charlie Kirk's life won't go in vain. 1,000 others will rise from the ashes and fight for the existence of the nation-states. The people wanting one world government may be clever, but the mask is slowly and steadily slipping off